We have ourselves a very special guest here today, the actual editor of our very own channel, Mr. Justin McGowan. Justin, thanks for coming over today.
Anytime.
Well, the occasion for this is because Apple just had their 2-hour special event where they talked about services, and we are going to try to crush through all of this in a timely manner and just give our 2 cents along the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, before we get started, let me just say that Apple just broke into several industries single-handedly, and that was the credit card industry.
Yes.
The news publication industry.
Yes.
The gaming industry.
Wow. Yeah.
And the TV industry. Okay, in just one event, and they weren't shy about any of them.
No.
Yeah.
No, they bold.
Yeah, whether you're gonna like them or use them or not, I think Apple isn't shy anymore about kind of the rumors we've been reading about all of these things, which we'll get to first. So we're excited to go through them. Let's start chronologically with the Apple News Plus service. Justin, how would you summarize that?
I think Apple before, if you wanted to subscribe to a magazine, back in the day you would use that newsstand app. And, you know, it was a good attempt, but it was a lot of, it wasn't made right for the iPhone or for the iPad. It wasn't the best experience, but it looks like they didn't give up on it. They actually created a brand new service, and it's built into the News app, and it's called News Plus. And News Plus is like a pool of 300 plus, they say, magazines in one single package, but it's designed specifically for these Apple devices, iPhones, iPads, Macs, and you can tell these aren't just like scans of the magazine.
Yeah, that's what I hated about the newsstand service years ago. I even tried to subscribe to a couple myself, but whether I was on my phone or my iPad, I was having to zoom in to magazine articles because they were essentially images of the magazine.
Yeah.
But they made sure to kind of show off the layout and the design that went into these with embedded videos. You know, and if you're reading it on your phone, it's nice big font. So it looks like they're taking another stab, and this go around they're including news services as well. So not just your magazines, like very popular common magazines, but Wall Street Journal.
Gosh, I mean, all the lifestyle magazines, the food magazines, the sports magazines. In their examples, I saw a ton of them that are super popular. So yeah, and you have access to all of them now.
Yep, for one price of $9.99. And the rumors were correct in that 2 of the most popular news services right now, at least online, the New York Times and Washington Post, are not part of this. But I think that in the grand scheme of things is a small percentage. So if there's 1 or 2 magazines out there that you have been interested in, you know, at arm's length to read, now with one fee, you can just look for any magazine you want. And I think what they're also going to do is aggregate the articles. So they're going to go more granular with the articles that, you know, the Apple News app is learning about you in Apple's, you know, privacy first way. So even if you don't necessarily read a certain lifestyle magazine, if it knows you've been reading articles about an upcoming trip, it'll pull other articles from other magazines about that country. You know, they were using like the Costa Rica trip as an example.
But that magazine, the magazine company doesn't know that you're subscribing to them. So there's no ads, and there's no tracking of what you watch or read. That's all done just on the iPhone. All the suggestions made are just made on the iPhone itself, or your Apple device. Yep. Device by device case.
That's right. And they're bringing this app, well, I guess they've already had it on the Mac, so this will be readable on the Mac as well. As far as availability, it's available today. I'm not sure if it's through an update.
I bet it's an update in the News app.
Oh, that's right, I said. Okay, there we go.
The next service that Apple has broken into is the credit card industry, and I really think they're going to shake things up here. Lucas, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so, you know, this was also rumored, and honestly, I was on the fence. I still feel a little weird that Apple's in the credit card game. We don't have the best you know, opinions of credit card companies.
That's true, yeah.
So yes, this is totally what we might call a services-driven decision to, to get into an industry that is ripe for disruption. So regardless of, again, whether you might use this or not, I think the features are pretty compelling. They're very proud that it's going to be apparently lower interest rates, okay, not exorbitant interest rates, and absolutely no fees. So no annual fees, no late fees, no international fees.
Right.
And also, if you do pay late, they're not going to add penalty interest rates because, you missed a payment one time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, Apple, you're starting to, okay, yeah, I get what you're doing here.
They definitely started off this by trying to make this a completely different credit card, including it seems to be pretty feature rich. I think they said 2% cash back.
Yep, on every purchase.
On every,
sorry.
on every purchase you use with Apple Pay. 3% cash back if you use buy anything in the Apple Store, online or retail store. And then that's when they dropped, they're actually going to make a real credit card.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Regardless of what fan you are of what mobile phone, the Apple Card is pretty cool. It is titanium, but also it has none of your personal information on it besides your name. So no credit card number is on the card itself. No CVV, no expiration date, and no signature field as well, which are all pretty unsecure pieces of information, or private, I guess, they're very private pieces of information that Apple says you can just refer to your iPhone's wallet app to get all the information if you need it.
Pretty cool.
So overall, it seems like they're going at anything that's ripe for change and trying to change that. One example is their cash back, so the 2% or 1%, 3% cash back will actually come to you in the form of daily cash. Your Apple Pay account will just give you a little notification showing you how much daily cash you earned today, and it deposits it right into your Apple Pay account, which you can then use for paying friends, buying things online, or of course transferring to your local bank account.
Right. No certain stores at certain times, at certain phases of the moon. It's all just, it's daily cash. Simple as that.
So my personal card right now is 2% on everything, and so just looking at that feature and adding all the Apple Card features, it's like, okay, you've made something pretty interesting here. So that's it.
I like it.
Okay. And the third service here that Apple is entering or re-entering in a new way is within the App Store, and more specifically with games. They just dropped a new service called Apple Arcade. And how would you describe Apple Arcade?
The simple version is that Apple created its own subscription service for games. So it kind of levels the playing field a little bit in that it doesn't matter what the game developer, if they're super famous or not. These games you pay one fee for, and you can download them online or offline, play them as much as you want, try them. If you don't like a game, no big deal, you can try another one. And so I think they said 100, starting off with 100 plus games.
Yep, and growing.
And growing, so that could be really neat. You pay one fee and play as much as you want.
Yeah, that's $9.99 per month. And they didn't go into specifics, but from, I think Bloomberg had an article about this just recently. How they're gonna divvy this up is by paying those game developers per month based on how much we played them.
Usage.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so you can try out any game you want. If you only played it for a little bit, decided you didn't like it, well, that developer only got, a little bit of money for it. But if you're, playing one game or a couple games a lot, they're gonna get more of that subscription that month, which is a lot like how Apple Music works as well. So they're effectively doing what they did with Apple Music for artists and bringing that to gamers. And it looks...
I think the App Store is the #1, largest gaming platform in the world. Is that what they said?
Yeah, that's what they said today. And at least one angle they were playing is that more independent game developers will be able to get more exposure to this, with different genres that really aren't that marketable or wouldn't be picked up by bigger publishers. This service looks to kind of shine the spotlight on them as well. Not to say that there won't be big publishers. I saw like Sega on that list, for example, and a Sonic the Hedgehog game. But it's cool to see that they're trying something new. Oh, and we probably didn't mention that there will be no ads and no in-app purchases, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's different.
For games in this
service.
And Apple Arcade will be available this fall in over 150 countries. So Apple's making a statement there. We'll see, where we are in a year from here. But if that sounds like fun to you, paying $10 a month to play as many new games as you want, there's the service.
Cool. All right, now we're shifting into the TV space here. Apple started off by focusing a little bit on the Apple TV app. If you have an Apple TV, you know that there's the Apple TV app, and it kind of helps you figure out what's next, where you left off on certain shows, maybe make some recommendations. Well, I don't know if Apple, in my personal opinion, I don't know if that had the success that they wanted to in that app. And they kind of doubled down on it, don't you think? Like, yeah. They started a couple new services, so tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, the first announcement with the Apple TV app is with a new service called Apple Channels. And what they are gonna at least start off with now is letting you subscribe to kind of the usual suspects like HBO, Showtime, and Starz through this Apple TV app. You're just paying for it through your Apple TV service, which I presume is like the iTunes Store or App Store. But they kind of went a step further than just that, and more so than I think any other subscription bundling service has done thus far, with this one line. They say, only pay for what you want. Okay, now let's break that down a little bit. It looks like on launch day, which is going to be this fall, is all we know, you will be able to choose certain channels that you want. And they listed just a few, like CBS, MTV, the Smithsonian Channel. And the idea here is kind of what we've all been waiting for.
We all have wanted that. Just pick your channels that you want.
Yeah.
I still think that the pool is a little smaller than we all kind of hope, but at least they've officially started it.
Exactly. So, man, I'm eager to see, if any more channels will hop onto this, so you can just pay for what you need. Up until this point, we've only had like skinny bundles, right, where it's like $30 a month for 30 channels, but it looks like we're hopefully getting one step closer to individual channels. The other announcement they made with this is that this Apple TV app that we all, Apple users already have on our devices is now coming to the Mac, and it is coming to at least 4 major TV manufacturers. It was like Samsung, Sony, Vizio.
Right, they're gonna add it to like the Fire TV and Roku. So when you boot up a Roku for the first time, you're gonna see the option to use the Apple TV app. That'll feel weird at first, but that'll be cool.
Makes sense. Apple's putting their like Apple only flag down, obviously, because they'd like you to subscribe whichever device you own.
Right.
So I know that at least Wall Street is going to be very happy about this, because Apple's services revenue is definitely something that they want to see grow, and they're letting any and every device use this new Apple TV Channels service. And now the final and possibly biggest,
most anticipated
for sure, service that Apple made today was a brand new subscription service called Apple TV Plus. Okay, not to be confused with the channels that we just spoke about, but Apple TV Plus. And from the get-go, it sounds like they're very proud about what is making this different. Okay, the one line they had was a service dedicated to the best stories ever told. Okay, which is a tall order, especially after Hulu, is winning Emmys, Netflix is winning Oscars, and Apple just says, best stories ever told.
They're with us.
So,
all right,
take it for what you will.
But they did bring in heavy hitters. It started off with Steven Spielberg introducing the service.
Yep.
Yeah, big deal.
And a pretty A-list, of celebrities talking about each of the shows that are coming. We had Steve Carell, Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston.
Jason Momoa was in one. Man, tons of really cool actors and storytellers, I think. Could be compelling.
Another surprise guest that they brought out at the very end was Oprah herself. It was like a little Oprah keynote almost. She kind of
practically
had a few minutes to talk at the end. She's bringing 2 documentaries to this service. And apparently through this service, Oprah's going to be doing her Oprah Book Club, like through the app and through Apple stores as well. So that was just kind of interesting. But to go back to the subscription as a whole, it is going to be ad-free. They did not mention the price. Okay, it's coming out this fall.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of seeing it most like is HBO. Like, I don't quite compare it to Netflix because Netflix is this hybrid of like existing
That's true.
content,
Yeah.
and an original producer.
And there's so much. There's so much in Netflix. I think they're gonna focus a bit more and probably bring in really great storytellers and great actors to do. The pool will still be plenty large, but it's not gonna be the same as Netflix. I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, hey, you have to start somewhere. But I think in one announcement, we've all read the rumors of Apple creating shows over the last like 2 years. So this fall they will have sort of their launch set of shows, and the presenter specifically said adding new original content monthly. And kind of a nerd feature, but I liked it, was that all shows will be downloadable. That shouldn't be a surprise, I guess, but even with Netflix, where you have to like renew your downloaded file when you're going on a road trip, has caught us a couple of times with the kid in the back seat. But every show and movie that this service will have will be downloadable.
Yeah. So I think if you enjoy your Hulu and Netflix or Prime Video, all those kind of TV show subscriptions, TV/movie, I guess, Apple is in the game. They are just another really good option to look into. So we'll see what content comes out.
Yeah, and as they were wrapping up, and you know, Oprah was finishing up, Tim came on stage. He even squeezed a tear, which was kind of interesting to see.
Right.
But a lot of what was announced today is kind of a wait and see. Right. The only thing we can really use today is the Apple News Plus subscription service. But even the Apple Card is this summer. The games and all the TV related services are going to be this fall as well. So we've got to wait and see. We'd love to know what questions you have. If any of these deserve like just a dedicated episode to talk about these. I'm sure during launch we'll certainly have an episode for each one. So for any of you who are hoping for the AirPower, sorry, it's just gonna have to be another keynote or maybe a surprise announcement. Maybe, you know, for that one. But let us know what you think of this format. If you like this, whenever Apple does their live episodes, just to have a little bit of banter. Live episodes, Apple doesn't do episodes. Live events. Let us know what you think. If you like this, please hit like and subscribe. We're doing this every single week to help you find the best tools and techniques that we encounter in the field as Apple consultants. So we'll see you guys next week.
I guess Apple is doing episodes now, aren't they?
Wow.
They sure are.
Touche.